I'd like to share with you a few questions that cut to my heart and maybe will speak to yours. If you saw a child being tortured, would you make a phone call to be able to prevent that child from being tortured? If you had the opportunity to take that child into your home and raise her as one of your own, would you do it? If you had access to people who could train that child, help them to grow and develop, give them restoration and recovery in their lives, would you do it? These are the kinds of questions that I've had to ask myself. Many years ago, I went to Thailand and I saw human trafficking. I saw the effects of families and villages who were so poor that they came to the desperate solution of selling their children into human trafficking. As you well know, and many who hear this, they've heard the stories. They've seen the scenes. They know the problem. But all of us feel either impotent or as if it's pouring into a bucket that will never be filled. But together and today, I want to share with you what I've experienced over these years, and this year in particular. I call it Ruth's Home. It's a simple example that if we multiply it, if we continue to do this, we can stop human trafficking. We can eliminate poverty. This is a model that I was doing just because I loved a few girls who were rescued out of prostitution, just because I knew it was the right thing, and basically because I couldn't do anything else. And so I bring my burden to you to share with you, that you might pray, that you might be concerned, and that you might act. And that your actions aren't like casting your bread upon the water, but your ability to really, truly make a difference in somebody's life. Ruth's Home is a vision, an insight, a scenario that was given to me that now is actually happening. We started off in the Hill Tribes supporting orphanages that were working, supporting children's homes that were making a difference, giving good homes and schooling and education. And inch by inch, we saw the pieces of how agriculture and businesses and agro-businesses could support those homes on a long-lasting basis. And then through effective training of care providers, be able to provide that support year after year, generation after generation. And so, as I share my burden, that it's not a burden, but a blessing to you, that finally there's some way that we can make a difference that's going to last not for our generation, but for the generations to come. And that all these large land masses that are going unplanted, all these places that are going in poverty, will come to prosperity. Prospering the poor is one of the most enriching experiences I've ever had. Rescuing children out of prostitution and out of slavery is the greatest experience I've ever had. And this last year, when I saw those decades of people working together, coming together in one place, I had my vision. It's called Ruth's Home. We built a home together. A number of us came together, and in just a few months, we're able to build a home for a half a dozen children to come, to be enriched and restored, and find the kind of lifestyle that will support them and encourage them, that provides them with good schooling and health care, and also a home where they're loved and nurtured. The beginning of what we do, what we hope to do, and what we hope to continue to do to the next generation is to be able to provide a home where children are loved and cared for. We've done that. We've built the house. In fact, we were able to cooperate with another orphanage, and the children from that orphanage were able to come and help us build that house, and in just a couple of months, build an entire home for a dozen children, perhaps 2 dozen if we wanted to make it a little tighter. But now our next project is the agriculture that we planted there. many fruit trees, vegetables that will feed them, will feed also the orphanage that's next door. Will be able to also provide an income to support that orphanage and other orphanages in the generations to come. So number one is to be able to build the house. Number two is to be able to build the agriculture, the agro-business, to be able to support that. And number three is so vitally important. High training, high-tech training for the care providers. Not only are there people who are working on their masters in social work, but there's also people who are working on agribusiness. And together, these care providers are coming together to provide the best education for your children, for your orphans, and for those who have abandoned, for those who have come out of child slavery. And to be able to bring the restoration into their soul, mind, body, and spirit. Fresh organic vegetables for themselves, and an ability to do business. If you learn one business, you can learn another. And so they learn this, they go to school. In fact, even the school that we send them to is teaching agribusiness, organic agribusiness, which is new in Thailand. In addition to that, we're training the staff to be able to do permaculture, aquaculture, and hydroponics and aquaponics. Now add to that oversight. For something to continue to the third and fourth generation, you need grandparents. You need great-grandparents. You need to be able to have people who are going to give that senior leadership into those people who are up and coming. We have a young couple who are just married, who have volunteered to be the care providers at Ruth's Home. Next to them are people who've been doing care providing for 14 years, training them. And there's people like myself who've been doing this for many years, who are going to be able to provide the oversight. So in these four stages, in these four ways of bringing layer upon layer upon layer to give the security and the safety and the ability for these children to be grandparents themselves. It's been a miracle time for us to be able to see all of this come together and see the long-range vision so that all over the world, in 10,000 villages maybe, we're going to be able to provide Ruth's Home, a home for children who've been rescued, a farm home that's going to provide the agribusiness that's going to support them. And I invite you to be part of it. At the very beginning of this, I asked one question. If you could make a phone call to stop a child from being tortured, would you make the call? And I say, that's how simple it is. We all have dimes in our pockets, some of us thousands of dollars. Call. My number is 253-861-5715. That's how personal it is. I want to talk to you. Say, you can be part of our family, part of our friends, part of our community, part of the global village that's stopping human trafficking, that's providing prosperity for the poor, who's creating agro-businesses that are high-intensity farming that now prospers the poor instead of keeping the poor in poverty. We've turned it around, and now we're moving forward, and you can be part of that. You can be part of my family, and I can be part of yours. So make a call and contact us at New Mercy House. We've gone from the basics of what we just learned to a new website called newmercyhouse.org. And we're trying our best to take a dollar for dollar value. Instead of using it for our administrative costs, instead of using it for all kinds of advertising, we're simply doing call me. Go to the internet, newmercyhouse.org, and become part of. However, just support me, encourage me, and help others so that we as a global village close the gap. It's that simple. Each and every single Ruth's Home has a destiny for their children to go into all kinds of businesses, lifestyles, vocations. We're sending them to universities. We sent 5 children to university this last year, just this one little tiny organization. And we're taking that dollar-to-dollar value and saying, no longer are we going to spend it in such a way that so little actually changes. But every village in the world is going to have a Ruth's Home, is my vision. What if I only get halfway there? It's 1,000 times better than what we've done in the last century. Let's do it. Take action.